And as I walked into the club, in one corner, there was Al Jarreau, Joe Sample, George Benson. All these guys were sitting in the corner having a fun day.
Saaiman Says.
Weekdays 6 to 9 p.m.
With Chad Saaiman.
Only on Good Hope FM.
Hey guys, Chad Saaiman here, host of Saaiman Says on Good Hope FM. As we continue to hype your heritage this month, we have a conversation for the final time in September. I mean, I couldn't end it in any other massive manner than the man himself, Mr. Jonathan Butler. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be on the show. I'm sorry it's so early and I overslept. I was just beat out.
It's okay. I follow you on Instagram and I know that you've been playing quite a few shows of late because I always see that.
I have. Yeah, yesterday I hosted a golf celebrity golf tournament. And it wore me out. I played 18 holes and then I had to do the concert at the end of the thing. So when I got home, we watched the movie and I passed out. So I'm here.
Thank you for being here. You know, I have a rule on my radio show, and just to give you some context, I've only been on air for a year and a half, and I have two rules on my radio show.
Yeah.
And the one is JB is not Justin Bieber. It's Jonathan Butler. And rule number two is ATL is not Atlanta, it's Athlone.
That's good.
And those are my rules. Those are my rules. And
I like that. I love
you got to
that.
tall the people back where you are.
I'm going to use that. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Whenever I play 7th Avenue, I'll bring that up.
Please do. So it is Heritage Month, and you know we're kind of going back to the roots of what makes, firstly, our city and our country what it is musically. And you know, I know quite a bit about you, and I think I just wanted you to paint a picture for the listeners and the viewers in terms of what it was like in Athlone, growing up in the area. I grew up not far from Belgravia side. My family is from, my parents both lived in Athlone. My church was there. My school was there. So what was it like back then?
Well, it was a buzzing. It was really a buzzing community and a buzzing area. You know, I mean, just to give an example, we used to walk to Athlone to go like to the movies. You know, there was a movie theater called Kismet and Obas. And Obas was up the street. And then next to Obas, across the street from Obas, was a fish and chip shop, which was incredibly good. That was like one of the best fish and chip shops. We would go there before we go to the movie house and Obas and our fish and chips in the movie. So it was buzzing. Plus there was a tailor. There was a place where I bought clothes. You would buy clothes, man, furniture. And Kismet was happening. And so we would walk from Belgravia, from Athlone all the way up. I mean, past Regina Chaley and across the street was Q-Town, where they used to always kind of rob me in the morning from school. I mean, there was always a beat down in Q-Town, you know. So
I know what you mean, man. On Klipfontein Road.
Klipfontein Road, all the way down Klipfontein Road, and then there was a park near this area where we used to always go play as kids. We used to always play in this park, and so it was really buzzing. It was like really happening on the weekends. If there wasn't a little bit of gang violence on our street or something, or two dogs trying to kill each other, it was always a fun. There was always something. And across the street from my house, from our house was there was just an open field. It's no longer an open field. So you know, what's his name? The guy's name, I think his name was Dochi. He used to live across the street from us. He had horses there with he was like a serious, this cat was unbelievable, man. He had like a lot of stuff going on in that little, that sun-kissed area of his. And so his horses were always on the, in the field. We would play soccer there. Yeah. And so it was really a buzzing vibe, It was really, now that I go there, it's really like quiet. It's like,
it's quiet, which is odd.
Quiet. Yeah, it's
which
really
is
odd
fun.
for me that it's quiet, But I guess all the people, once we moved out, a lot of people I grew up with moved out,
Yeah, yeah,
moved to different areas. I moved my mother to Montevideo. But to be
yeah.
honest with you, looking back, I probably wouldn't have moved. I would have just, built the house for her there.
Built house, yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
we all kind of, but just like everything else, everybody moved in with my mother. So
Yeah.
it didn't, that didn't change much.
That didn't change.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me about the sounds that you were hearing in that time. Because I
the
think
sound, oh my God,
Yeah.
man. Starting from my house, from
Yeah.
our house, there was such a lot of great music from our house to the streets. I mean, I remember there was a gang called the Yuckies, and they used to hang around.
I know them.
The Yuckies used to, and they used to hang around, and so my brother and Paul and I used to play for these guys, and that's how we got our piece of the pie from them. They would give us some food. They would,
and also some protection,
some protection. I mean,
the Rat Pack, for example.
Yeah, I knew the leader of the gang, so it was kind of an interesting thing how my mother's suncase was the place where people always had some level of respect for my mom and for us, and so we never really got into trouble with the gangs in that way, because music was what they loved that we did, and that everybody kind of knew that the Butlers was into the music thing. But the sounds was the Klopster time was incredible. Klopster time, when I was in the Klopster, when I started being part of the Klopster scene, we couldn't wait for it to happen, because it was like sounds from heaven. It just thundered through, 7th Avenue, all the way down to Belgravia High School. Yeah. And then, of course, I used to stand with my father and watch the girls come from high school, from Belgravia High, and just check them out, I try to get my game on, just watching them school. And that was a fun time standing with my dad, just looking over.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
It's a different kind of bonding time, but I'm here for it.
My father's giving me the ropes like this, son, just take a look. Just, gaze your eyes on the beauty of the Lord. I
love that.
I love that. It was we definitely had, we had our ways of entertaining ourselves. I mean, we didn't have TV or radio, so we were family.
Social media.
And so none of that stuff. We were our own social media. We were our own Instagram.
Yeah.
If we want to see stuff happen at the Butler house, we were crazy, man. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about getting into studio for the first time. I mean, you were pretty young when you started recording.
Yeah.
And I think the discipline of, a lot of people get taught the discipline of live performance, especially naturally, by a church or wherever it may be.
Yeah.
But no one really teaches you the discipline of studio. Many singers don't get it right. And you got in there pretty early.
Studio was different for me because I remember when I was like 7, 8, around 9, I actually went into the studio. There was a couple of guys in Cape Town that wanted me to record. I think one guy's name was Ivan Weir, was his name. Yeah. And so Ivan had me record in the city. But it was very different because, see, I grew up as a performer, not as a recording artist. Right now, you see kids on American Idol, SA Idol, they're all being groomed how to convey the song, how to tell the story. But when you're in the studio with headphones on, the music becomes so small in your head that you have to figure out how to make that story happen with headphones on. In the old days, there were no headphones. You just actually sang with two speakers that was out of phase. So the speakers would be in the room, but it would be out of phase. So like the Tony Bennett's and all the Frank Sinatra guys, they just walked up to the mic and sang like they were in front of an audience. So you actually could express yourself. You see what I mean? The headphones make you so like you get in your head. It makes you in your head. So that's why a lot of artists take one headpiece off.
I do that with
do the same thing. just so you can hear intonation, you know that you're not out of tune. But for me, I just put it on. I hate it. I still hate it to this day, but I put it on and I just sing. I just let your tone be your tone, you know, and that's who you are. Let your tone just speak for itself. But it takes discipline, because I had you know, during my career, I had choreography lessons. I was taught how to dance. I was taught how to tell a story from one side of the stage to the next side of, you know, so don't stand still. I remember a story when I toured with Whitney Houston. Whitney used to stand dead center in the middle of the stage in front of the microphone and not move. And so I think it was later on they told, hey, you know, we got to get some dancers or something to make the stage look alive, because she's
to make it look alive. I
want to dance with somebody and she's just standing in front of the microphone, you know. It makes sense. So now when you watch Idol in South Africa, you watch Idol here, or, you know, the young artists are taught how to, like, sort of, you know, be themselves or come out and perform and show them how to do certain things. So I learned all of that as I was growing up. Yeah.
Amazing. And I think, I mean, I know you had spent time in the UK as well as then the US, right?
Yeah.
How was the UK experience? Because that was pretty much in the time you left at quite a young age, right?
Yeah, I left when I was probably 22 years old, you know, around 22. I think it was really like just sort of the back end of the uprising that I kind of left. You know? But London was great. It was great in a way that I learned more about songwriting, arranging, and I have spent most of my days in the studio writing. Most of my days. Zomba had the record company had six writing rooms in the studio. So every writing room there was an artist writing. It's either Billy Ocean, either Will Smith was in there, Def Leppard was in there, Millie Jackson was in one room. So it was all actually an old friend and a legend from, I mean, he is a legend in my eyes. His name is Richard John Smith. He used to be part of the label.
I literally... my mother talks about him all the time.
He was
always says, Richard John Smith, he was a star. That's what they always said.
Yeah, he's one of my, you know, I remember seeing him live in South Africa. I mean, he was with a group called Shindig 5, and he was actually down the street from us. So he was a tall figure, you know, he was big hair. I mean, he looked like a star. I mean, the guy just had the whole swagger like a big star. And so to me, you know, I looked up to him. I was like, wow, man, you know. And I spent a lot of my young days in Bogsburg, in Rega Park with Richard. I stayed with him too. So, so Richard was like a big brother to me. You know, Richard John Smith, Lionel Peterson. They were like, my dogs are going crazy here. But
it's okay.
But yeah, so those were the big guys that were big stars for me, you know, growing up. And so I learned a lot of songwriting in London. I think that's where I studied the craft of songwriting, how to write a song that had different layers to the story, and not just like, you know, just 4 bars. You know? And that's a song. You know, now, that's cool if you like it, but I mean, back in the day, you crafted a song. There were different layers to a song. You know, so yeah. And then London was cool because I had small kids, and so it was kind of nice to sort of, you know, it was a slower pace. London had a much slower pace. But it wasn't, for me personally, it wasn't where I felt I was meant to be. I always felt I was meant to be in the US, because this is where all the artists that I love lived. And you know, so when I moved to LA, I was like, oh my God, this is, you know, George Duke, you know, Al Jarreau and Benson. I mean, all the cats that I really, really loved, Herbie Hancock, they were all here. So
and you end up meeting and playing with him.
Yeah, so, I'll tell you a funny story. Like I went to a club one night here in LA, and I was just, you know, this club was really famous, and a lot of great musicians were there. And as I walked into the club, in one corner there was Al Jarreau, Joe Sample, George Benson. All these guys were sitting in the corner having a fun day. They were celebrating George Duke's birthday, and I got up to jam. They called me up, and then I went to their table, And they said, where you live? You still live in South Africa? I said, no, I just moved to LA. So George said, I want you to do a session for me tomorrow. Can you come to my house tomorrow?
Wow.
So I said, sure. So I drove up to his house. And when I got to his house, the same guys were there. Herbert Laws, Joe Sample, Al Jarreau, George Benson. I think Maurice White from Earth, Wind & Fire was there. So I stood in the driveway and I said, God, if this isn't you, then I must be like, this has got to be God, you know.
Yeah.
And so from that moment, they knew I lived in LA, and so I was getting calls to do sessions for this one and be part of that. So, but London was really like a stepping stone for me. I learned all this craft from writing, arranging, and you know, I did quite a bit of work with Billy Ocean and Ruby Turner with If You're Ready, Come Go With Me. That song was a huge song for her and for me. And so, but at some point after like 10 years, I had this really strong feeling that I need to get out of London and move to the US. So I'm still here. I'm still here in the US.
You are in Los Angeles, right?
I'm in Los Angeles. Yeah.
I think, you know, you actually answered a question that I was going to ask about turning point moments, because I think each artist, no matter where in the world, has turning point moments. Like the day you get to George Duke's house, that's a turning point. Or going to the club and seeing them in the corner, it's a moment. True. It's a moment. And I think we all go through that. And that was a question I was going to ask. Now, when you listen to music and consume music, what does it feel like to you? You know, even within the genres you listen to, like, how do you feel about music now? Is it still as beautiful as it was before? Or is it, we know there's more of a machine behind it now?
No, I'm like a kid when it comes to music, man. As a matter of fact, I feel there's like a new rain coming. During this pandemic, there's new rain about to be poured onto this nation, to this world, because I'm very excited about music these days. I feel so much more energetic. I don't know what it is. I keep telling my band, I said, man, I feel like, well, first of all, you know, we've been in quarantine for 15 months, you know, and so no contact, you know, we haven't played. We've done sort of live stream shows and stuff like that. I've done a lot of songwriting, and I've been working on music in the studio. But to go out now and perform, there's something that, first of all, music is my air. Yeah. It was my girlfriend before I had a girlfriend. And it's still it's my air. It's not, this wasn't for fame. I didn't come into this to be famous. I came into this because I really believe God gifted me with something from my parents, down to my brothers, down to me. I'm the last of 12. And so I'm still like a kid when it comes to music. I listen to, you know, on my iPod, I listen to from Afro Traction to, you know, Laura. I mean, I listen to music. I buy music every day. I buy music. I buy music all the time, so I can completely just tell you, if you, I'm an artist who's a student of music. Yeah, I love music so much. I'm still a student, and I'm still a lover of music. That's my thing. Yeah, I love that.
Mr. Butler, it's almost time for us to wrap up, but I want to chat to you about this one moment that I had where I'm watching, I think it's the Stellar Music Awards or something, and there's a YouTube clip, and it's Travis Green and Jonathan McReynolds, and Israel Houghton, and Jonathan Butler. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this thing where you saw Benny McCarthy play in the Champions League and score a goal, or you saw Lucas Radebe at Leeds United. I watched that clip and you come in third, and every time I watch it, I get that same feeling I felt when I saw Benny McCarthy score that goal, or you know the moment I'm talking about, like being so deeply connected to knowing that that's someone who is from where I am from. Yeah. And in that moment, it was such a, how was it being on stage in that time? My question was, in soundcheck,
Yeah.
I'm sure you were just singing the notes normally and just singing through the song because the way they responded.
Yeah.
I think you finessed them.
In soundcheck, we were sitting in the dressing room and everybody had the guitar. We were sitting backstage and I remember Jonathan. We let Jonathan sort of run the show. Like, okay, you put it all together. You
Okay.
come up with this idea. So Jonathan started this whole thing, and then he went on to Travis, and we were just jamming around in the backstage. And I was actually just enjoying watching these young guys, just be so like on their game. And then that for me, I'm like an older guy. I'm sitting there listening to them, and I'm like, this is cool. This is like you're having Mandela be part of like a Boys to Men rehearsal backstage, and then they say, Mandela, okay, now it's your turn.
It's your turn.
So. Madiba does his, Boys to Men moment. That's a funny line. By the way, I think that's funny. I think
that was very funny. That was very
but
funny.
I totally get what you're saying. I feel to cap what you're saying. I feel that way every time I see Trevor.
Yeah.
Time I see every South African around the world.
Yeah.
Seeing their presence on TV. It makes me feel so proud. I'm always going to represent you.
Yeah.
You from Belgravia, from Athlone, from Menenberg, from Hanover Park, from Mitchell's Plain, from Guguletu. I'm always going to represent you. That's who I am. It's who I am. That's who I am completely. I've never left home. My next album that Marcus Miller is producing right now, it's home. It's a home record. It's not like the sad thing for me is seeing South Africans leave South Africa and try to simulate too much in the American culture that they lose their identity. So I'm always going to represent my country the best way. Not the best way. It's just who I am. And so here's the thing. When I sang that night, with everybody on stage, it's just like a boldness that has come over time. It's come over time. Because I remember growing up in Belgravia, there was a very meekness because ons kom van sinkhuise af, jy weet, ons kom van die muurhuise en die electricity en die warm water en die bad en die kamer. Ek kom van die skaapkop era af.
Yeah.
Ek kom van Page and Poetry's familie af. So for me is it, ek is proud om Suid-Afrikaners. You verstaan jy? So that's my vibe.
Absolutely.
That's my vibe, yeah.
That's the perfect way to end this conversation. I keep calling you Mr. Butler, but seeing that we are on air, I'm supposed to call you Jonathan Butler.
JB,
Jonathan,
not
JB. Can we keep it that way?
JB
from the ATL.
JB from the ATL. I love it. Yeah.
This is Good Hope FM.